All right, let's get into this RICO Act down in Atlanta. 61 charges of the racketeering over Cop City down in Atlanta. There are some things that's put in here that I did not know about. And I'm gonna give these about the racketeering that, but I think we've been moved astray when it comes to the protest, and we're saying it's peaceful protest, and now they're doing this to peaceful protesters. Not all of those protesters have been peaceful. Some of them have been downright dangerous to the point of some severe injuries could have occurred from the things that they was doing. That's not taken away from. I still think Theos is correct that they're using the RICO Act as a wide net to just gain, including pay attention to the last part of what one of the charges is, and you'll get the gist of it, because that ain't making no sense at all. But let's go ahead and get into it real quick and get some background on it.
Well, a controversy over what critics call Cop City, a police and fire services training center under construction just outside Atlanta, has drawn major protests and acts of violence in recent months. And it's now spurred over 6 indictments against a group of individuals that Georgia's Republican Attorney General is calling militant anarchists. News Nation national correspondent Robert Sherman live for us. So, Robert, Georgia bringing racketeering charges against 61 people.
That's right, Kelly. Cop City has been something that has been at the center of controversy here in the state of Georgia for the last 2 years. You have some people who say that they're in favor of these training programs. You have others who say that this is the wrong use of lands. As a result, you've seen some protests break out here. But sometimes those protests turn pretty ugly. We want to show you this video. This comes from last May and is taken right at the gate that is right behind us here. What appears to be someone throwing a Molotov cocktail and fireworks. Police say that they've started to see this more and more. There wasn't just a one-off incident. They see protests here that sometimes get out of hand again and again and again. And you talk to local residents here in this area, they say at this point, they've just had enough of this.
Only thing that has made me feel unsafe has been some of the protest activity. I'm supportive of seeing these charges brought against individuals who have terrorized our community. It's not the appropriate way to make your position against the project known.
So the state's attorney general is using Georgia's racketeering laws, also known as RICO here in this case. But some, such as the Georgia ACLU, believe that this is a far too wide-spanning indictment, with 61 people here contending not all of those 61 people were as heavily involved or should be charged so significantly or even charged at all in this case. Their fear is that an indictment like this will put a chilling effect onto even lawful dissent. Listen to this.
We've seen that an over-egregious, overzealous state prosecutions that are taking away from local decisions and being prosecuted. So this may actually be the beginning of a playbook that other states could pick up on.
You look at these lists of charges here, Kelly. In addition to racketeering, there are some who have been charged with charges such as domestic terrorism, attempted arson, and money laundering, something we'll be keeping a very close eye on here in the state of Georgia.
Yeah, the money laundering thing, I don't know where that came from. I get the other ones, but and let's make this perfectly clear. I'm gonna give it to Diaz. I just want to put this out there. This also was the same as we found out yesterday, that this was the same grand jury that indicted Trump and all of his associates. There was another grand jury that wanted to add other names to that list. But it's widely being speculated that, yeah, the DOJ had, well, not the DOJ, the DA had their eye on those same people, but they went after the people that they knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that they could get convicted. So it's not the same thing. As much people as like to speculate that if they could use it, we can use it. It wasn't. They literally went after people. The DA down in Fulton County literally wanted to make sure that these charges that we are charging these people will get a guilty verdict. I can't believe the same thing with this, especially money laundering coming out of nowhere compared to the other stuff that they was talking about. So that's my 2 cents. Go ahead, Theus.
All right, so I'm gonna take this in a couple pieces. First of all, this is why I caution you and everyone else out there, when you find yourself reactively or reflexively taking the side of someone has been your opponent for decades, just because they're finally doing something that you like, right? So that's why I pointed out when I did about RICO in the last one. Just because they're using it over here and everybody's like, yay, RICO, it's gonna get Trump. Don't forget, these are the same. This is the same organization. The justice, the state police, the different levels of justice and law enforcement and the judiciary. These are the same people who will send a 14-year-old child to jail for the rest of his life because of drugs. Okay, this is the same system that will shoot a man in the back and then sit there and say, well, somehow he deserved it because look who his daddy is, or look at the time that he did something 2 years ago, right? This is the same system. So fuck the police, all right? I'm sorry. Look, y'all got to be more consistent. Stop being led by your nose by everything that smells good in the moment, okay?